Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Arkansas Gun Guy. Well, today I have a pretty cool comparison video. It's actually my most requested video. It's a comparison of the Sig P938 compared to the Kimber Micro 9, a couple of little mini 1911-esque micro carry pistols that are really very sharp looking firearms that are super easy to carry, and just they have a lot of style. So full disclosure, I'm a massive Sig fan. I wore the hat just for the comparison. So when the request came up for the comparison, I just assumed that, the Sig is going to win this hands down, because I've never really dealt with Kimber very much. I've never owned one. I've never really touched one, but I am fortunate enough to know a guy who has one, who lent me his Kimber for the video. And once I got it, I kind of like it a lot. I thought for sure I would just say, yeah, here's a nice comparison side by side, Sig is better. I'm not so sure. This is a really nice firearm. So I'll flip the camera around and we'll take a look at them side by side. They're both awesome, I'm sure. And I'd love to hear what you think. Do you have this guy or both? What do you think? What do you like? Again, if someone's researching firearms and finds the video, your comments in the section below really help people make informed decisions. So as always, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. It helps with all the algorithms and outer space and things. And comment. That way people who are looking for information will be well informed. Again, thanks so much for watching. Here's a close-up. Okay, here we go with a close-up of the Sig P938 versus the Kimber Micro 9. Specifically, this is the Sig P938 Legion in Legion Gray, which looks green to me, compared to the Kimber Micro 9 CDP, which is Custom Defense Package. This is how it came from the factory, including the crimson traced grips, which we'll talk about in a little bit, because it's my first time dealing with these. I kind of like them, but I kind of learned something as well. Now, quick call out. I want to compare these in as general terms as possible, looking at width, height, and things, because there are numerous versions of each of these out there. So to get an exact apples to apples comparison is almost impossible, because this Legion is also available in the black nitron finish with rubber grips. I think there's a wood grip option. There's multiple versions of the 938 currently, and historically there's been others as well. Kimber I wasn't as familiar with. I checked the website. Just now there's 12 different variations of the Micro 9 listed. Prior to that, there could be even more. So there's multiple versions of these, which I think speaks to how much people love these little mini 1911 micro carry guns, because they have so much character and class, and they both, I think, shoot really well. I've been really happy with this guy at close range, and this guy shoots pretty much exactly the same. So again, we'll look at the specs and look at them side by side and show you just kind of how they stack up. So let me turn them side to side here. First things first, they're both chambered in 9mm, 9x19, and they both hold 7 rounds. So pretty much a draw. Thinking about length, the Sig is 5.9 inches long, and the Kimber is 6.1, so slightly longer. I'm assuming it's all in the beaver tail here, because the slides look pretty much identical to me. Now, one thing that's bugging me as I sit here and look at this, the crimson trace grips have these warning stickers here and here. Those, I guess, came from the factory. I don't want to take them off because it's not my firearm, but I don't know those need to be on there, but I'm not taking them off. So if it's distracting to you, it is to me too. Let's see, so length, the Kimber is slightly longer. Width-wise, the Sig is 1.1 inches wide. The Kimber is just a little bit thinner at 1.06 inches wide. And let me flip them around so this crimson trace thing is not in the way. If you look at them side by side, you can almost see that the Sig is a tiny bit fatter than the Kimber here. So 1.1 inches wide on the Sig versus 1.06 on the Kimber. However, I don't think that takes into account the little lump here for the laser. So pretty much identical. The Sig is slightly fatter, at least on the slide. Height-wise, they're pretty much identical. With these 7-round mags, you have a slight pinky extension here, and it looks like an extended base there. If I turn them belly up, they are pretty much identical on top. So they're pretty much the same height. Weight-wise, the Sig's a tad bit porkier at 17 ounces versus 15.1 ounces on the Kimber. So a little lighter here, maybe a little snappier when you fire it. And the trigger, I had my lineman trigger gauge out to do all the fancy pulls on camera, but I had a hard time getting consistent pulls, and it's pretty boring to watch. So I did several, and guess what? The triggers are almost identical. On an average basis, I got 3 pounds, 12 ounces here, 3 pounds, 9 ounces there. So again, I'm calling it a draw. Pretty much everything about these guns, dimension-wise and capacity-wise, is a draw. But if you look at the features, let's just drill down another level here. So the Kimber has, a front clean end of the gun up here. We have some cocking serrations on the Sig. So again, Kimber, nice clean front there versus the Sig with cocking serrations. They both have a very similar size trigger guard. The Kimber is smooth all the way around, where the Sig, I'm not sure if this is just Legion, has some checkering here on the bottom, checkering detail there. Both have almost identical mag release, identical placement, as well as the slide catch, slide release here, again, almost identical. Both have ambi safeties, so Kimber has safety here, safety there. Sig, same thing, safety here, safety there. So pretty much identical on all the features there. Again, massive difference on the grips. This has the really aggressive Legion G10 grips, and again, there's multiple variations. This has the laser grips, which again, very interesting. I'll come back to those in just a second. There's a switch for those. They both have checkering on the front strap, so it looks almost identical actually, here and here. Again, the Kimber has got the button here for the light that goes over some of the checkering. And the back strap, again, almost identical. Look at that. So I think they're watching each other. Checkering here and checkering there. The beaver tail is a little more pronounced on the Kimber though, and I like that. When you put it in your hand, you get really nice protection here. So really nice beaver tail there. Whereas on the Sig, it's not quite as pronounced. Again, you get some fat of your hand coming up over there. I've never had slide bite, but it's just a little bit less pronounced of a beaver tail. So looking at the sight picture, Kimber's got 3-dot sights, white sights. I'm sure there are multiple options that you can put on these as well. I like the Sig sights a little better. You've got kind of a blacked out dots in the rear and that bright green in the front. So I can acquire these sights a little better. On the top, the Kimber is more of a rounded feature here versus the Sig is more blocked off. So the Sig has a Legion call out here. Neither is optic ready. The other side, nothing really going on there. It's just the same as the other side. So the other big thing I'll look at is the trigger and the hammers. So let me do a safety check for you guys. Drop the magazine out. Firearm is empty. Same thing for the Kimber. Drop the magazine out. Firearm is empty. So actually, first I'll cock them both and look at the hammers. Well, kind of hard to see there, isn't it? So they both have very similar looking hammers. The Sig has got this little triangle looking design there with scallops. It looks pretty much like the Kimber if I can try and catch it. So the hammers even are pretty much identical. They look identical, slightly different shape, but really easy to get a hold of if you need to. And as far as safety features go, so you can put this in safe when the hammer's not cocked, but you can't cock the hammer or pull the trigger. These are both single action only, as I mentioned. Hammer cocked, you can put it in safe, and the trigger floats free. Now on the Sig, you can put it in safe, and you can't cock it, same as the Kimber. You can cock it, put it in safe, put it in safe. This is much harder to operate. And same trigger. So these are both in safe, both the same trigger, almost identical. Pretty easy to deactivate the safety, and fire, and fire. Looking at the reset close up. So again, call it a 3 pounds, 12 ounce trigger pull. Reset is right here. Very short. And again, that's a really short reset. That's a really nice trigger. Versus the Sig, thought the Sig had one of the best triggers I have, but I think that Kimber could be better. The reset's just a tad bit longer on the Sig, and not by much. So again, I'm a Sig fan. I've been a massive Sig fan for years. I know nothing about Kimber, but this is a pretty darn awesome gun here as I compare these two. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is just these Crimson Trace grips. Again, I've never had these, and sorry for pointing the gun at the internet, but once you grip them, once you apply pressure here and the switch is on, you can see the light comes on there. So, which is good one-handed shooting. I'll put this extended mag back in here. For one-handed shooting, it's easy to grip, and you can see that the laser is there. So great. However, I'm used to shooting two-handed, and when I do that, the laser is not really very helpful. So that's why I noticed. Love the laser. It's perfectly aligned with the sights, super easy to see. And this gun you can easily shoot one-handed. However, if you do try to do a proper two-handed grip, your hand is blocking the laser unless you hold a teacup like Jack Bauer on 24. So don't hold your gun that way. You can, it doesn't matter. But if you're shooting one-handed, the grips are great. If you try to put your other big fat paw up there, you lose some visibility. Only drawback I see there. So again, both awesome looking guns. They seem to be pretty much identical. Again, as styles all over the place, so are prices. I believe as they sit, this guy is about $200 or $300 higher than this guy, and this guy ain't cheap. I think these guys go in the $700 to $800 range, and the MSRP, at least on this guy, is over $1,000. Maybe you can find them cheaper. I'm not sure how they're discounted in stores. But again, there are also versions of this in the $600 range, and there's a base version of this in the same range. So they probably both start in the $600 range and go up from there. The Kimber seems to probably go a little bit higher. Again, not to pick a winner because it's hard to say because they're both pretty equal and pretty awesome. I will tell you, however, in my mind, I'd pick the Sig to win hands down, but that's not the case. This Kimber is every bit as good to me in just a short tabletop review and a few shots. I'm really impressed with the Kimber. Still love my Sig. I'm not gonna get rid of my Sig, but the Kimber is a pretty darn nice firearm. I'll also tell you one last thing. My wife saw this, instantly loved it. I've been bugging her for a year to pick a gun to carry, and she just takes one of mine. Says, whatever, I don't care, it doesn't matter. When she saw this and the laser, she's like, that's what I want. That's the gun she wants. So again, she's very passionate about that. So maybe I will have a Kimber in my future. So anyway, please share your thoughts. If you have this gun or both, let us know what you like or dislike about them. And as always, thank you so much for watching the Arkansas Gun Guy.